Time now for our Life and Info segment where we focus on information that we hope is useful for your everyday life, whether you are in Korea or somewhere else around the world, or perhaps even interested in coming here. Today we are going to focus on culture, and to explain what's going on in South Korea right now, I'm extremely happy to say we have our Won Jung-hwan joining us in the studio. So Jung-hwan, what do you have for us this morning?
Hi Mark, I'd like to introduce you a musical today, which many people probably have heard before about the title. So the musical is the second part of the Along with the Gods series, which was originally based on the webtoon that was first released back in 2010. So, but many people probably recognize the name from the two film adaptations which they were screened in theaters quite recently. The first of these fantasy action drama films was released in 2017, becoming the third most watched movie in South Korean history.
And that's starring Ha Jung-woo, right? He's
Exactly.
the lead actor there.
Yeah. The second one wasn't bad either. It was released at the end of last year, drawing a domestic audience of more than 10 million, good enough for the 10th place of the all-time list. But I'm not here to talk about the movie, actually.
Yeah, you actually want to introduce us to musicals, right? But I just wanted to ask you first whether this musical, because I hear it kind of has its basis in deities somewhat, and those coming from the myths of the Greek and Roman eras. Is that right?
Yes, correct, but with a modern Korean twist inside it. Along with the Guides portrays Korean gods in the contemporary and fun fashion. As I've mentioned before, the story is based on a webtoon, and that webtoon has three main chapters: the afterlife, the present, and the legend. Those titles are quite literal. The afterlife is about the afterlife, the present is about the day-to-day life in the world we live in, and the legend is about the god themselves.
So does that mean that we're going to see a third movie in this series? Presumably we are.
Not today.
We'll talk about that another day.
And the musical that is running in Seoul until the end of this week is the second part of the series, the present. Part one, The Afterlife, was showcased 4 years ago, and it was a huge hit with every performance being sold out. It was refreshing to the audience because it had a slightly different plot compared to the film adaptation and the original webtoon.
How the audience takes in webtoons, films, and musicals are all different. For example, I rearranged the characters according to the musical fit so viewers can understand the plot more easily.
So, Jung-hwan, without giving away too much, just tell us briefly about the story. And we all want to know, because some people might have read the webtoon, how much does it differ from that to this musical?
So the story goes like this. 8-year-old Dong-hyun lives with his grandfather. When the urban redevelopment project kicks in within their neighborhood and threatens their home, two house guardian gods decide to appear as a human form to protect their houses. To make matters worse, gods of the underworld arrive to try and take away Dong-hyun's grandfather to the afterlife. And the guardian gods struggles to protect the old man who is raising his young grandson alone. But that's not it. The musical effortlessly weaves to the two main plots in one setting. The other one is about an unemployed young man named Park Sung-woo. Sung-woo moves from pillar to post without a proper home. One day, with the help of his old friend, he lands a job where he is given the task of demolishing a village. And that village is the one where little Dong-hyun and his grandfather live in. As the story progresses, it shows Sung-woo grappling with his conscience as he is forced to make a difficult choice. So what's interesting here is that in the webtoon, the story was mainly focused on the first plot about the kid and the guardian gods, but in the musical, the second plot received more weight. I'm not going to give out any more major spoilers, but the main story revolves around the battle between those who carry out forced evictions and those trying to protect their own homes. It touches upon a real sensitive issue in the modern world, urban redevelopment, and its impact on residents of old neighborhoods.
I'm glad I can talk about this kind of story in this contemporary time. I tried my best to communicate with our audience about a sensitive social issue.
So while it's hard-hitting at times, it's great fun to see the gods come into real life and mingle with the ordinary people. The musical will be performed until this week at the LG Art Center, so maybe check it out.
Okay, where's the LG Art Center? In Seoul?
Yes, in Seoul.
Whereabouts?
Seoul at the Gangnam station near over there,
Okay.
Yeoksam.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I'm sure the tickets are fairly reasonably priced as well?
Yes.
Okay, but
similar
book
to the,
early if you can.
Book early, like I said, the first series of the musical was all sold out. Maybe there might some tickets left out.
And did you go and watch it yourself?
I did. I had the chance to
And
watch
did you
the
like
second
it?
one. It was okay.
Okay.
It was, I love the webtoon better, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, not everyone's into musicals. It's a bit of a taste thing. But I'm sure if that's the kind of thing you're interested in and fantasy stories, you're going to love it. Jung-hwan, thank you very much for coming in as always, and can't wait to speak to you again one other Thursday in the future. Now, that sounds wonderful, of course. Check that out if you can. LG Arts Center in the Gangnam part of Seoul. Now we're going to take a quick look at some other cultural and sports events that Jung-hwan has put together that are taking place across South Korea.